Hey y'all, welcome back to Weekly Hyperfixations. I'm Riot. Um, we got more on the plate this week, thank goodness, because the last 2 weeks have been either the recording's been short or like there's been audio interruption or I just didn't fixate on a lot. That kind of thing. I got my coffee, hopefully I'll focus. Partner made my coffee. So, okay. So, first thing on the table, and I'm not sure how this competition worked, but we're in Eurovision season, I guess. I'm not European, so I don't know how this works. But there was something, I don't know if it's like a bracket type elimination thing or whatever, but basically there was an audience vote thing between the performers for Austria and Israel. And supposedly the entirety of Eurovision was actually rigged in favor of Israel. Like they purchased audience votes, that kind of thing. And it came down to Austria needed 100 audience votes to win. And they got like 178, which means even though Israel had literally rigged it in their favor, they still lost. Because them moving on was determined by individual people in the audience. I also really enjoy the clip that comes with that because the woman who sang for Israel looked calm, like she had already won, and the Austrian team looked like so worried, but they won, so she had to pretend like nothing was wrong. But I am a little afeared for Austria because Israel is committing genocide. So, and Austria's already had to deal with that once. I don't want them to have to deal with it again, but they did technically oppose Israel. It's enough of an available grudge that I'm worried. You know what I mean? I think that was the only heavy thing I had out of the way. Let me see if I have any other things that are a little heavier like that, just in case. I think that's it. Thank goodness. Well, that's not as dire. Okay. Another negative piece of news, though this one is, Austria winning, extremely positive news. The fact that Israel could take this as a grudge that they can now hold, that's the not good part. Some troubling but like stupid news basically is that, and I'm sure by now you've all heard it this week because this came out a couple days after I filmed last week's episode, but Fortnite decided to roll out an AI NPC that is Darth Vader, and it is James Earl Jones's voice. He did agree to that before this, like the estate or whatever, however that works, technically legally agreed to. And then, because this is Fortnite, and Fortnite doesn't know their player base at all, clearly, people got the AI Darth Vader to say slurs and threaten people and, all this shit that I know, hey, it doesn't matter if like whoever's in charge of his stuff is like doesn't care or anything. Hey, hey Fortnite, hey Fortnite, you let a program into your player base that they taught how to say slurs, and it's a Disney character. Hey, Fortnite, did you remember this is a Disney character? Did you remember that children play this game? And now this bot is learning slurs and saying them even unprompted? Did you think any part of this through? Aside from the fact that that's a terrible thing in general to do, hey, just say you don't know your player base, Fortnite. It's embarrassing. So yeah, if that's not patched out of the game already, they've got to have like a lawsuit on their hands, right? Especially since due to the AI bot that they used, it's learning those things from other players and is now saying them independently of those players. So now if you walk up to him before you say anything, there's a chance he'll just start saying those things. Yeah. So that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, I think. A more, well, I'll get this other semi-serious one out of the way. There's been recent research that has been published now that shows that not only is it harder for people in my generation, Gen Z, to find a job, but that also a lot of companies will fire them after like a year of employment or just not even hire them because their reasoning is that they don't have enough experience. But a lot of these jobs that claim that they don't have enough experience are entry-level jobs, of which you are not supposed to need any experience. So they're asking for more experience than is literally chronologically possible. And this is also coming from the generation that says Gen Z doesn't want to do anything and doesn't want to work. Hey, hire us then. Do it, coward. You know? Ugh, that's my opinion about that. All right. Now all of the more serious stuff is dealt with. Got some great news for everyone. PBS was under fire from the government. And Sesame Street was likely to be taken off of the air because it was going to be shut down from television, basically. And this isn't an ideal deal because it's now, you know, a pay for thing, but Sesame Street has been completely saved from being over, basically, from Netflix, which makes sense because now they have a kind of a monopoly on that. But they did have a global deal with Netflix, so Sesame Street's going to be perfectly fine. Even though PBS itself might not be. So there's still going to be good educational shows for children. It's not preferable that it's no longer accessible to every child, but it's better than it disappearing entirely, I suppose. Then let's see. Oh yeah. Baby No Money really wanted to do a Five Nights at Freddy's cosplay with Markiplier. So he tweeted that You know, he tweeted that. And Markiplier, you know, Markiplier streamed at some point, and people were like, "Oh, you should do a cosplay with Baby No Money and whatnot." But understandably, because Baby No Money is spelled BBNO $, he thought it was like a cryptocurrency, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to do that," and just was vehemently like, "No, I'm not going to." So Baby No Money's been posting really entertaining memes about not being able to get Markiplier's attention. But I will say, I saw under one of those tweets that Baby No Money put out about not being able to do that cosplay with Mark. I did see that underneath that tweet, Dako had responded, and I'm 90% sure that's like a really big FNAF YouTuber. So Baby Money still has it in the bag. Maybe not as much as he wanted, but you know, that's, you take what you can get at that point, I guess. I thought it was very funny. The Cannes Film Festival happened in France. And you know, just all these groups of really pretty celebrities, and you know how I am about that. But one individual in particular was key on my mind for things, media coming from the Cannes Film Festival, because me and a good portion of my friends, honestly, are all Pedro Pascal enjoyers. Okay, you know where this is going at this point. We're all very big Pedro Pascal enjoyers. And the outfit he was wearing, first of all, killing it. Second of all, Danger Zone, he knew he was killing it. It's one thing to look good, but to look good and know you look good, Lord have mercy. So listen, he look at him. It's not at all a problem. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not a problem? Okay, I need to move on. Pedro Pascal at Cannes is at the Cannes Film Festival. Jesus. Is all that I wrote down. I didn't even write out the full name of the festival. I just wrote the place. But yeah. Here's a brief silly tangent about DC Comics. I didn't realize that Dinah wears a wig. Like Black Canary. I didn't know she wore a wig. I don't know how I missed that. I've read some of her comics. Maybe the ones I read just didn't show that. I just didn't know. I did know about Kate Kane, and I was really surprised that some people didn't know that it was a wig. And I was like, how could you not know it's a wig? Anyway, it's attached to the mask, my dude. Anyway, in some versions, it's attached to her mask. But I just thought that was a silly thing that I found out a couple days ago. There was another character in there that it was like a post about characters you may not know wear wigs. Didn't know who the other girl was. I'll be so real with you. But also, I mean, I'm assuming she's a DC character that I'm just not familiar with or whatever. To be fair, in terms of DC characters, I pretty much avoid anything up until what I'm going to talk about next. Pretty much don't interact with most Superman comics. So I'm wondering if she's like that kind of character. Like, is she a Superman adjacent character? Like, what major hero is she adjacent to? Because I don't know who that is. Also, the comments under that tweet were not helpful. They were just all about Kate Kane for some reason. But speaking of Superman, the trailer did come out. Last time you saw me, I had filmed this the day before the trailer dropped. Oh boy, there's so much going on. I I don't think it's metamorphosis. Yeah, it might be metamorphosis. The guy that's made out of rocks. Basic looks like he's made out of rocks. In the cell with Superman. He can turn his body into whatever material, so he's in there because he can turn himself into kryptonite. So there's that. I'm a big fan of the whole trailer, I'll be so honest, because it really highlights that, like, you know, even though Clark technically grew up in, you know, Clark grew up in Kansas and he's lived on Earth most of his life. But there's some things that he still doesn't get because on Krypton, like, that's the kind, like, not even just on Krypton, but that's the kind of thinking he would have, especially since, you know, he, to his knowledge, he's the only Kryptonian. So, like, so a lot of the anger he has in that cute little interview that they show over the course of the trailer, it makes sense why he's so angry, because he simply doesn't fathom, like, the idea of, you have the power to do something, why aren't you doing it? He is of that kind of belief. So he's like, I had the ability to stop a war. I did. If you had the ability to stop it, would you not do that? You know what I mean? That's his way of thinking here. And I thought that was really cool because it does highlight that, like, that's a foreign perspective to everyone around him. And even though, you know, he doesn't look like an alien, he still is. And giving little bits and pieces of things that are not the same in his mind is really good, in my opinion. Listen, I'm a Nicholas Hoult enjoyer. He's gonna piss me off. I saw a single frame of him where he looked disgusted, and I was like, oh no, I want to punch him. Hey, slash affectionate, I wouldn't actually, but when I see him as Lex Luthor, man, I want to punch Lex Luthor through the roof. Which, according to my brother, is exactly how you should feel about Lex Luthor. Makes sense. We didn't get a full shot of her. You kind of see her vaguely in the background of the Fortress of Solitude shots, but Eve is there. Lex's girlfriend? Wife? I don't know what I think it's just his girlfriend. But Eve is there. And there's also that really annoying gossip column lady, Kat, I think. She's the one who, like, takes a selfie in front of active destruction, because she's a gossip column writer and she probably sucks. There was also a clip that I had to, like, really slow down the footage for, because the shot's focused on Clark, but Jimmy is in that shot, and I was like, let me see Jimmy. Listen, I grew up on, like, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network. And I watched Psych. I've seen the guy who's playing Jimmy Olsen like a million times. Let me see him. I want to see him. Like, some of these, well, like, I know they're side characters, but I want to see, like, the costume, you know? I want to see the costume. Whatever Eve was wearing looks really cute. Really hard to tell. But it looks like some sort of short, fluffy outfit, you know, fluffy hat, fluffy coat over, like, a mini skirt, which, girl, that's not going to do anything for you. But also, I doubt Lex properly told you where you were going, so, you know. Guy Gardner looks stupid as hell, as he should. His little... So good. I'm gonna be mad if people like Guy Gardner after this. The whole point... Hey, all comic fans, we all hate Guy Gardner. There's a reason for it. He's an ass. No one likes him. If I log on to Tumblr after this movie releases and I see a bunch of people being like, yeah, Guy Gardner, I'm gonna lose it. Every marble gone. I've got one rattling around up here. I'd lose it. Okay? But all in all, I'm very, very excited for Superman. I'm very excited for movies this summer in general. I want to see that one, and I want to see the Fantastic Four. That's the tweet. I actually don't remember many other movies that are coming out this year. I haven't seen Sinners yet. I really want to. But I can't think of like any future movies that I want to go see besides those two, because I'll be honest, most of the things that there have been movies for, like there's a Jurassic Park coming out, I think. I don't really care that much. Oh, I might maybe see Lilo and Stitch. But I found out yesterday that Gontu isn't in it, and I got mad. Because here's the thing in my mind. If you don't know Lilo and Stitch past like the trailer, you don't know who I'm talking about when I say Gontu, basically. Gontu's this big whale-shaped 20-foot tall alien man. Some people say he looks like a shark. Technically, he's supposed to look like a whale, whatever. But he, in the original movie, Gontu is who is looking for Stitch the whole time. He's trying to track down and capture Stitch. I'm pretty sure he also captures Lilo on accident. And he gets in trouble for capturing a human or whatever and stuff like that. Hey, if Gontu isn't in the movie, then what in the world is the conflict? Is it just the Empire in general? Because that doesn't make a lot of sense. Because he was like a, well, he wasn't really a bounty hunter. He's a very militaristic guy. But, so if you take out the person who in the original movie was trying to hunt down this alien, hey, what's your new conflict gonna be? Because this is no longer just a remake. Hey, why can't live actions just be remakes, basically? Tweak a couple things. I know that's what they're trying to do with How to Train Your Dragon. I'm on the fence about that one. I'll be so real. I'm on the fence about it. I hope it ends up really good. I think the crowd will be pretty 50-50 on it, though. Some people are really excited for it. Some people aren't. So, I think it's also because color grading in movies has got more and more drab. Superman looks fine. Superman looks fine. Everything else kind of has a layer of dust, and we just need to, you know? So, I also don't know if that noise picked up on mic. So, that could sound really stupid, but that's okay. So, there's my rant about that. Hey, this is a tangent on something that I don't think happened recently. I can actually check, but I don't think it was a recent occurrence, unfortunately. Ooh, when did this? Oh no, that came out this year. Cool. So there's a Star Wars show that came out, not Andor. Acolyte. And the fans were liking it, and they were liking it, and they were liking it. And then all of a sudden, there was a scene where she, like, you know, points her lightsaber at someone, and it's blue, and it turns red. Hey, that's not how that works. Hey, you've actually spent so many decades telling us that that's not how it works. What the fuck, dude? Hey, what is this? That's not how it works. Hey, that's not how the Force works. Hey, Han Solo knows better than you. That's not how the Force works, okay? And that man doesn't even wield it. That man doesn't do anything with the Force, and he knows it's not how that works. Ugh. It looks cool. You can't deny that that's a cool idea, but when you know that that is not how lightsaber color changing works, not even remotely close. It's either like, you know, it's like based on the kyber crystal, or like to change the color, there has to be this really long drawn out ritual. Getting angry once, like getting way too heated and angry once, would not make a rock change its chemical makeup, buddy. Anyway, I'm not even a Star Wars fan, and that pisses me off. So, another thing that I have on here that I completely forgot. Apparently, the Dora the Explorer movie is still is still gonna happen, and like it's releasing soon. It's going straight to streaming, but like, what? I thought that got canceled. I'll be so real with you. But yeah, okay. We're gonna move on to the pyramid. This pyramid, the bottom part of it is really non sequitur, because I needed the bottom half of the pyramid, couldn't think of literally anything, and went, what if I just take a moment to thank some very important to my hyperfixations type of people who have created my hyperfixations, if you will. So, and some of these aren't even like necessarily my hyperfixations. I'm a Nintendo person predominantly. Secondary, bad news, PlayStation. Some people get uppity about that still. As if I haven't played on all consoles and also predominantly play on PC. So, like, I don't, whatever. But also, the bottom three of the pyramid are just important people too, because they all contribute to I don't know how many times a year event, maybe 4, maybe per quarter, I don't know, event that usually features a hyperfixation of mine. So first, on the pyramid, we have Sakurai. If you're not familiar, Sakurai created Kirby. The only Kirby game I've really played is Kirby Air Ride for the GameCube. Oh no, I also did I also played Kirby's Epic Yarn, and I've watched my brother play Forgotten Land. So like 3 games. He's also who does Smash, and they're doing another Kirby Air Riders. So I'm very excited about that game, by the way. But Sakurai is on the pyramid simply because it's Sakurai, and he's too important to Nintendo for me to not find him to be an important person to me. Because I think at least for a while, Sakurai was in most Nintendo Directs. I don't remember, but important nonetheless. Next up, and I had to literally look up his name because I couldn't remember it, but worked on my favorite Legend of Zelda game and just a bunch of Legend of Zelda games, is Aonuma. Aonuma's on the pyramid particularly because one of my housemates has been playing through Wind Waker, or Wind Waker? Is it? Yes, Wind Waker before Phantom Hourglass. But Aonuma worked on Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, which is one of the few Zelda games I've played all the way, Wind Waker, and Phantom Hourglass. So I don't remember if there's others for Aonuma, but I mean, I also can't remember the other games that Aonuma works on. I don't know why I can't remember. But just like Sakurai, Aonuma's on the pyramid because I am a Nintendo fan. These are people who contribute to my hyperfixations. So they can be on the pyramid. The next one on the pyramid has definitely been in a lot of Nintendo Directs and is a very, very, very important person at Nintendo. I've only played Odyssey and the original, like, 2. Oh, and the, Yoshi's Island. Is that what it's called? The one where Mario's a baby? That one. Or is it Yoshi a baby? I don't remember. But, capping out our bottom row on the pyramid is Shigeru Miyamoto. Worked on the very first DK game, in which that's how we got Pauline and Mario. Yeah. Shigeru Miyamoto's on the pyramid for obvious reasons, because he's the guy. And contributes to my hyperfixations a lot because he's a Nintendo guy. So he belongs on the pyramid with Sakurai and Aonuma, him being on the highest spot of those 3 for obvious reasons. And then our top row, our top 3 of the pyramid are all actors. You probably won't be terribly surprised. Next up on the pyramid is David Corenswet, our Superman. I talked a little bit, about him having the distinction between things that he considers normal that others don't, because he's just not the same. He's literally built different. He's Kryptonian and not American, and all that. Well, semantics, but on the American part. But also just that the beginning clip of, oh, you'll let me interview, you're serious, you'll let me interview you, Superman, and he goes, yeah. So then when they start the interview, he goes into a different voice when she's like, so Superman, and he shifts his posture and voice a little bit and goes, Lois Lane, and I'm like, yeah, me when there's distinction. Also, some of the phrasing she did for that interview clip, some of it sounded like she might know that he is Superman at one point, but some of it also sounded like a theoretical interview. I know she does, but I thought it was very funny that they somehow made that ambiguous, even though it really shouldn't be. It probably felt more ambiguous than it is. I have trouble with that sometimes. But also just it's a lot of weight on your shoulders to be Superman. So he is on the pyramid because I'm really hype about seeing Superman in theaters. So next up on the pyramid is Rachel Brosnahan, which is our Lois Lane. She's been on the pyramid before, way back, for a red carpet thing, where on the red carpet she said that she wasn't media trained, which I thought was hilarious because she's Lois Lane. They just hadn't gotten to that part with her yet, or whatever. But Rachel Brosnahan is on the pyramid because first and foremost, I'll be so honest. I don't really care about Superman. I care about literally any other character in Superman comics, probably. I just really don't like Superman. I don't know. Hopefully this movie will change that and I will learn perspective, but on Superman specifically. Most of the time I consider that it may be because he's too idyllic, too perfect, that kind of thing, and it really does look like they're gonna show that, yes, he may be Kryptonian, but he's definitely learned. He's definitely human in a way that is learned. But Lois is so wildly important because of so many different things. Like, it's so. Also, Lois in the comics at some point recently briefly had powers. Briefly, because the whole appeal of Superman is that he is super and most people around him aren't. Jimmy, Lois, the whole Daily Planet. But I think Rachel Brosnan really was a good choice. When looking at the primary three casting of Lex, Clark, and Lois, people seemed so bashy about her, presumably because she's a woman, but whatever. But I think she's done really, really well. Even just the trailers, it just seems so correct and so fitting and so right. So I have big hopes for that. So, capping out our pyramid is Pedro Pascal. I'm just, hey, myself, just put up the image of him in Cannes again, please. Any of the pictures. I know there's several. It's Pedrito. What do you want from me? Like, he's been top of the pyramid probably more than once, if I had to guess. Yep. Let's see. Week 17. This is week 20. So 3 ago, he was top of the pyramid. Is there any reasoning for why he was top of the pyramid? Or is it just, Protect the Doll's shirt? I'm sure there's more than one. There probably is, but he's been on the pyramid multiple times. This notebook also doesn't have all of them, so, you know, he's probably on the top of one of the other ones as well. Alan Cumming's been on the pyramid a lot more than I thought he was. But anyways, Pedro Pascal's on the pyramid because he's a good person concept. And he slayed at the Cannes Film Festival. So, thank you. That's the tweet, actually. All right. That is our whole pyramid for this week. And that's all our notes for this week. So, with that, have a good one, y'all. I'm going to be starting theater rehearsals this week, but I do not have an acting part in the role, but I am still prop master, so I do still have to go in tomorrow. But I don't have to go in as much as I would have. So we'll be a little more lax with like recording and stuff. I don't really have to shift my schedule that much. So thank you all so much. And I'll see y'all next week, same time, same place. Thank you again for watching. If you want notifications on when I post videos, pretty much I post once a week, every Thursday at the moment. And those posts are usually preceded by the previous week's pyramid. I make a visual graphic of the pyramid each week. They're a little silly, and I love them a lot. So thank you all for supporting the channel as well. Viewer engagement is really important with a young channel like this, so I thank you guys a lot for that. And I'll see y'all next week. Hope you have a great rest of your week and a great rest of your day, whether you're going to bed or waking up. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.